Advanced Health Sciences Psychology B, Virtual Interactive Notebook 3, Stress and Coping. We are on day 5, which is stress-related diseases. Oh, I don't have any computer glare today. Maybe it's because I have the garage door open. That's kind of nice. Here's the garage door glare. So my experiments with trying to get the algorithm to choose a particular picture for my thumbnail have failed. I'm feeling kind of bad about it. So I probably should back off of it, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to put a stapler on my head. Maybe that'll do something. So I've got a stapler on my head, and then I'm going to hold up a pen. Look at that. There's that. I'm going to figure this out. So let's see if it chooses that for the thumbnail. Okay, so this is day 5, stress-related disease. Your essential question is, how does stress cause disease? Your main idea is stress-related disease. The subtopics are chronic stress and behavior patterns. And branching off of behavior patterns, or if you're doing it in outline form, underneath behavior patterns and indented, we're going to have type A and type B. So this is, you've heard of this probably, that person has a type A or a type B personality. Well, that actually comes from research that today's lesson is going to discuss. So go ahead and set up your notes. Today's lesson is drawn from chapter 14, section 3. Chronic stress. Now remember that chronic stress is stress that the stressor is there a good deal of the time. So it's not a single event. It's something that kind of grinds you down. So for example, let's say that you have job strain. That would be chronic stress. You feel like you don't have an internal locus of control and you feel like you're overworked. So that would be chronic stress. So this has health consequences. The first note I want you to take on chronic stress is wear and tear on the body. So it wears out your body's systems. Now, the way your book explains this, and this is, if I'm not incorrect, it's theorized by evolutionary psychologists. I don't know that it's proven. I mean, I don't know how easy it would be to prove a thing like this, but what they say is that in, how do you say that? I don't even know if you say primitive setting anymore, but in a survival situation like most of our ancestors were in all the time, a stressor is usually a one-time thing, right? So something bad happens and the clan reacts to it, and then the bad thing's over and you go back to normal. Now, I don't know about that, because what about times of famine? What if a clan has members that really don't get along? So I bet there is chronic stress in hunter-gatherer tribes. But on the other hand, there's a lot of research that shows that hunter-gatherer tribes, if they have enough food and if they're not undergoing a disease, that they're actually happier than the rest of us. So maybe that's true. But be that as it may, in the modern world, we have chronic stress perhaps more than people in our past did. So maybe our systems aren't evolved or designed to deal with this the way that we deal with one-time events, right? With acute stress. So wear and tear on the body. Now, coming off of wear and tear on the body, we're just going to write down the effects it has. We're not going to study them in any depth because we need to keep this short. So it wears out the heart. So heart, cardiovascular system would be 1. It reduces your immune system's effectiveness. So it affects the heart and the immune system. It actually makes asthma worse. I have asthma, so I'm going to try to pay attention to whether or not my asthma gets worse when I'm stressed. I've had very few asthma problems since we've been home because I have no stressors, really, except my kids and my wife, and they were there before, so whatever. So, and my asthma is better. So maybe there's something to it. That surprised me. And then headaches. People with chronic migraine headaches, my impression was they have the headaches and so they get stressed because they often seem stressed. But on the other hand, maybe they're getting the headaches because they're stressed. Maybe they get stressed and then it causes the headaches, at least for some of them. So if you have chronic migraines, maybe try the self-care stuff and see if it reduces your headaches. So stress-related disease, chronic stress causes wear and tear on the body, and it affects your heart, your immune system, asthma, and headaches. Then we get into behavior patterns. So researchers decades ago found that people who get heart attacks, their personality characteristics or their behavior patterns, which that's a collection of your personality is, one definition is a collection of behavior patterns. People with certain behavior patterns tended to get heart disease at a much higher rate than other people. So they identified the factors that produced higher rates of heart disease. And they divided people broadly into two behavior pattern types. So you have type A behavior patterns or personalities and type B personalities. So for type A, I want you to write down driven workaholics, write down deadlines, and write down rush. So type A personalities tended to be driven workaholics. They tend to be very concerned with meeting deadlines, and they tend to rush through things really quickly. I am married to a type A person. My wife is a driven workaholic who is very concerned with deadlines, and she rushes things through things very quickly. And the research shows that she is 7 times more likely to have a heart attack than a type B personality. So I want you to write driven, deadlines, and rush. And then below that, write heart attack or heart disease 7 times more frequent or 7 times more likely. All right. Now, later research showed that these characteristics of being driven workaholics who meet deadlines and they're rushed came from a... This is going to be really funny because I just said that my wife is type A, but that the critical characteristics there are people who are angry and hostile. I'm going to say that again with a straight face. I'm going to show this to her, and she's going to be mad because she gets angry and hostile. All right, let me back up. So the critical... Okay. The critical part of type A personalities, as far as heart disease goes, is people who are like that tend to be angry and hostile. Okay. That comes from later research. Now, type B personalities. I've been accused of being a type B personality pretty regularly. So type B personalities are relaxed and laid back. Now, it seems to be a spectrum. I'm not all the way type B. If you've been in my class, you know I'm not all the way type B, right? There comes a point where I just get frustrated and I'll do that, right? So it seems to be a spectrum, but I am definitely more type B than I am type A. So, for example, kids will come up and say, "Hey, I didn't do this," and it's like they're expecting me to go, "You're a terrible person. Go in the woods and live like an animal. You're not fit for society anymore," something like that. And I always go, "Oh, okay, we'll do that." And they go, "Are you mad at me?" "No, you didn't do the thing. Do the thing. We're fine." Right? So you might have had that experience. I tend to get angry and hostile if I'm trying to do something and I feel pestered. That's about it. As far as I can tell, maybe you have something different. All right. For today's output, I want you to copy. I've taken a chart that I got from somewhere else. And I want you to copy that chart. There's type A on the left and then type B on the right. And under type A, it says competitive, time urgent, hostile, and aggressive. And under type B, it says relaxed, patient, and easygoing. So I want you to copy that chart, and then I want you to put a dot where you think you would fall. So I would fall about halfway between type B and the center, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how true that is. I feel like I'm more type B than type A, so I'm about halfway to type B from the center. All right, so tomorrow I will see you for day 6. Hostile and aggressive. All right, bye-bye.